MedBix webcast is a new kind of healthcare media channel to break the silo mentality and foster interdisciplinary thinking. Our mission is to fill that gap and to create a curiosity through different lenses, tapping the passion that guided the historical figures in medicine and bringing present-day groundbreaking research to the front lines. We interview physicians and leaders in the industry about present-day healthcare challenges on our live programming. Welcome to the MedBix webcast. I don't know why he's there. I'm going to turn it off. Welcome to the MedBix webcast. This is Raman Annamaraju. I'm the host. No, I'm not Albert Einstein, but there are a lot of Albert Einsteins coming. I'm going to introduce them on today. You know what? I've been during the pandemic. Dr. Bill Frist gave a lot of second opinion podcast. He spoke about a lot of things. One of the things I was talking about is the rewarding. Our reward system is just messed up. We need a new kind of currency, new kind of reward system. We need it. The kind of thing is 9 to 5, you work and then you get paid. That kind of a reward system, or you work on this thing. We need to see that each individual, what contributions they make to society. It's not socialism, but it is the overall good of everything. If you destroy the planet, if you destroy our common good, that's no good, whatever you do. So that we have to contribute something. We have to mathematically or some other way, we can measure that social contribution. That is, I've been talking about for a long time. I couldn't find a solution. And then eventually I met Harry Broek from Belgium. I'm going to introduce you. He gave me a concept of this wonderful concept, how to change the alternative money. It's a new kind of money, new kind of reward system. United States, we are struggling a lot. Everybody, this is only a few people are making money. And then there's a lot of Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes. They are all, even technology platforms are pyramid schemes. They just funnel the money to the top. So we need alternative solutions for this problem. I have a solution today. I found it. Harry Broek introduced me. Harry is from Belgium. He's joining us from Belgium. He's a CEO of a Ride On Corporation. It's a penny stock company. They do a lot of. He has a lot of done in the medical publishing company he worked on. I will ask him all the questions. So let me bring him to the table, to the main stage. Welcome, Harry. Welcome to the MedBix webcast.
Ramana, thank you very much that I may be present from a dark Belgium. It's 3:00 at night, but now I'm in the light of Silicon Valley, aren't I?
Yes. So sorry about that. Keeping you up late. I wanted to ask you, give me some of your background in educational and in a professional background. What do you do? Where the countries. Just to give me some background of yours.
Yeah, well, my background is from origin. I'm Dutch Indonesian. My mother is Indonesian. My father is Dutch. I'm born and raised in the Netherlands. I hold a master's degree of Wharton and Nijrode. That was a cooperation between the two business universities. And I was all my life in publishing. And from publishing, I went into venture capital, from venture capital technologies. And actually, I'm already 66 years young, and I just started a new career and trying to do good for society with everything what I've learned in the past 45 years. I was also associated professor at business schools in Barcelona, Brussels, and Antwerp. So I engaged a lot with students and trying to find a solution why life is so difficult. Brought me actually into a wonderful person who changed my life. And that was Dr. Bernard Lietaer. He was a fellow at Berkeley. And he wrote a book in 2001 called The Future of Money. And I think the book was 20 years too early because the knowledge and the possibilities there are, you can find it in the book. And if you ask me the right questions, I will give the good answers.
So before we go into the little bit about your financial background, that you have finance in the background in finance.
Yeah, venture capital, mergers, acquisitions on an international scale, correct.
But you are truly international. Your mother is Indonesian. Tell me your ethnic background a little bit. People understand how international you were.
Well, the thing is, I'm a good example of diversity because I was born and raised in the Netherlands, but my parents and my brothers and my family was born and raised in Indonesia. And for me, being the only person at school with a brown skin made my life very interesting because I look very differently to diversity as normal people do. Because I was in school with 1,000 children, and there was only one small guy with a brown skin. So I know what diversity is. I went through it, and I'm also socially engaged with it because I believe in the unity of existence of mankind. We are all equal.
So you married also, you told me just to
My
remind
wife is
me.
Russian. My wife is Russian. It's a terrible time for us because the real victims of the war are the people who love both of the countries.
Yeah.
Because the grandmother of my wife, she is Ukrainian. Her father is Polish, and her other parents they were Russian. So we have a double war. If yeah, but it's devastating. There are a lot of people who are in that situation.
It's a
That
sad story.
if
Uh,
you are in both camps, yeah.
it's a sad tragedy. I want to ask you, let us talk about a little bit of healthcare in your 66. So, because
Yes.
you experience healthcare, you have some, that what do you think? What do you in Europe, the countries that you're around, Belgium and the Netherlands? You live in Belgium now, but
I live in,
You're from
yeah.
Netherlands.
For me,
So,
it's one
and
country.
then
Or
you go to other countries close by. Tell us a little bit about the people who don't know in the United States how the healthcare system works in the Europe a little bit, and particularly the countries in Belgium and Netherlands.
Yeah, well, the healthcare system. My experience with healthcare is I was publisher for 4 years of the publication of the Royal Dutch Medical Association. So I was the publisher of their monthly, and I met a lot of doctors, discussed a lot of, but I was always on the information side, like hospital information networks, publications, and things like that. The thing is, in the Netherlands, for instance, healthcare is obligatory. So if you work somewhere, you need to get an insurance for your healthcare. In Belgium, you pay only $100 a year, and you're covered. In the Netherlands, you pay $200 a month, and then you're covered. But the biggest problem is to get people for whom healthcare is their passion. My daughter is head nurse of a big academic hospital, and during the pandemic period, she worked, let's say, 16 hours a day to save lives of people for 7 days a week. But the thing is, society, although we appreciated the healthcare system when we were in trouble with COVID-19 pandemic, the people who are working in the healthcare system, it's a hell of a job. And what you said about the rewarding system, there is no rewarding system. If you don't have, and my daughter, I talk to her often about this subject. She said, Dad, if you don't love what you do in healthcare, you can't survive.
Yeah.
You can't survive. You lose people every day. People die in hospitals. And every time when somebody dies, something dies in you as well, but you need to be a professional. You are in healthcare. And one of the things from my financial background with venture capital, financial speculations and healthcare, they don't go together. You cannot do that. Healthcare, what is the most precious asset of a human being? That is his health. But if you ask him, he will give you his net worth and say, "Oh, I'm worth 3 million and blah blah blah." But the real value of life, is in you as a person, and that is your health. And I think that we really need to upgrade the level of how we value health when you compare that with the financial markets, for instance.
Yeah.
And
It
Bernard Lietaer was a guy like that. He was director of the Belgium National Bank, but he was one of the best number one forex traders in the world at a certain point in time. But he left that area of money to go into education.
we need a technology, but these technology companies, they made more money during the pandemic. Not the healthcare workers, healthcare professionals didn't make money. So we need to have some fair system, a reward system. We got to have. So you introduced me as a, then we can talk about a little bit about that in your penny stocks, and then also time banking. I fell in
Yeah,
love with the
yeah,
moment you told me. I have done
yeah.
a non-stop research. I've done. I think it is a great idea. Gave me alternative money, future of the money. That is what we need. I think United States is right there to embrace this kind of a new kind of money, because everybody's tired of it. This is like we have a system now. You won't believe. In the technology companies are making raking money, and the rest of them are just falling in the cracks. It is really sad story everywhere. I dedicated my life in healthcare, which the rewards are nothing. It's absolutely devastating in every healthcare. Anything you do in healthcare, it is a more work and less rewarding. And you do 3 month class in technology, and then I was paying one time. I was placing cardiologists and then SAP programmers, SAP programmers. I was paying the SAP twice the money as a cardiologist. Cardiologists who save the life when you get a heart attack. So think about that. This is a system is all messed up. We need a true reward system.
Oh,
So tell me that future of money that you gave the concept. Who inspired you? You told me somebody that
yeah, that was Dr. Bernard Lietaer, and when he wrote his book, I was really, I was shocked about the facts he presented. So I called him. I called his publisher. I said I want to talk to the author, and they connected me. He was a fellow at Berkeley at that time, and I was in Berkeley. So unfortunately, we couldn't meet there. But 2 months later, we met in Brussels at his home, and I had the opportunity to talk to him for 4 hours about his book. And that is also, what is the most precious thing you have in life? Health.
help.
And you cannot buy health with money. You cannot. And what is the second most precious thing in life? It's time.
Yeah.
Time. You
No,
cannot buy time for money. So money, time, and health, they have a relationship to each other. And the thing is, if you have a lot of money, that's great, but you don't have time. But if you
American
don't,
healthcare system is broken, Harry. It is
I
completely,
know.
it's
But
American paradox.
it goes
Paradox is
beyond.
that you spend more money, you get the lesser care. And then people don't want, even the relatives, they don't want to take the relatives to the hospital, because they will be liable for the all the expenses, for the medical expenses. This is a ridiculous way. This country is such a powerful country. One time I came here to see the glory of science and medicine. Now we see the devastation of this family's devastation, the relationship devastation, because of the healthcare system. It is totally broken. I don't know where to start. I think one of the ideas is a bigger idea that we are presenting. I'm going to present to that in a second. And that idea is you, because you inspired me. I didn't know that I've been here. I never had this kind of a concept called time banking. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But I tell you, that we are at least, in healthcare system in Europe is covered. Everybody's covered. You're not left to
Yes.
dry and high. You're not that you take your daughter takes you to the hospital. She will not give you a bill and then make sure that she is going to be bankrupt for the rest of her life. This is a sad story, and people
It
don't
is.
stand up for these kind of
It
things.
is.
What kind
Of
of
course.
policymakers? What are you doing here? Is it?
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
American system healthcare. America is number one country in economy and everything, but same the healthcare system is going to take them down. I've been talking about it all, every aspect of healthcare system. How we can rectify this, but they don't pay. They want to do another technology to start another pyramid scheme. They come up with and then make money, and then people who really truly want to solve the problems, they're undermined in this whole process. I'm really upset about it, honestly, because I'm a part of the system. I'm very emotional about it, and then I'm a part of I place a lot of doctors around the country. I ran my own diagnostic center. I've been in healthcare in and out. I was instrumental in forming an HMO, IPA, a lot of physician groups. It is a sad story, that what we are doing to this country healthcare system. Unless they wake up and then
Yeah.
rectify this one, they're going to take not only the America, they're going to take the rest of the world along with them. That is, they don't understand this this serious problem of this healthcare system. But anyway, but there is alternative that you gave me. There's a small hope we can all do.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah, yeah. And but the secret is in time, health, and money, because the thing is, if you cannot buy time, but you can buy time. But first, you have to collect time.
That is
And
what we're going to do that. And
and
you are the inspiration for that. I'm going to present that right now. Okay. Just let me
yeah,
present
yeah,
this topic on time banking. I'm going to bring all of them they can watch together. After this presentation, I'm going to pay a tribute to a wonderful Japanese woman, my friend's mother, and I met her from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. She just passed away a few weeks ago, and then I'm going to talk with her son, who is a close friend of mine, is a lawyer from Vanderbilt. I'm going to talk with him. So along with Harry, let me bring all of them to the this next to the yeah, just a minute that I'm going to why am yeah, okay. Harry is there, and then we can watch together. You can comment
great,
anytime, and
yeah,
any comment you want to do that, Harry, is wonderful.
sure.
This is a topic I'm very close to my heart, to be honest with you. This can solve the problem. This unremarkable woman came to the United States to study medicine, instead study suing. But what she contributed is unbelievable. She's helping millions of elderly, and then she may have a solution for the doctor's office problem, in the nagging problem, present day problem. She passed away in 1996, but still she may have a solution for a lot of our problems in what we're facing in healthcare and other places. That is what I'm going to do. So this is a let me. So one of the problem in the doctor's office that let me. One of the problem in the doctor's office is the one day there is a doctor, a spine surgeon from Alabama, is talking about something interesting. He said that he could not bring a patient from to the paid. She could not able to come. She did. There is no Uber in small towns. There is not much Uber there, and there is a even if there is Uber, she cannot afford it. All these problem taxi, and they could not afford it. So, so that she said that he paid for the taxi and he brought her to the office. The doctor paid from his pocket and brought her. This is not some isolated problem. This is the reason he mentioned this in the LinkedIn. He brought to the front lines of the social media because there's a nagging problem among all the physicians I know. It is not a one-time incident. They will see every day one or two patients like this every day. This is a serious situation because they may not be covered under the Medicaid, for example, and they don't have the money to come down there. They may not be qualified for the medical transportation, all kinds of things. So this is one of the frustrations a lot of physicians have, and this remarkable Japanese woman may have solution for that. We're going to talk with a little bit about that. Her name is Teruko Mizushima. Mizushima. I think my friend Ram Upaluri can correct me. Is a Japanese. His mother is Japanese, and she was born in 1920, and then she passed away in 1996. But she was born in Osaka, Japan, and then she moved to United States. She came to United States in 1930s, and then studied in Nebraska. My friend is then Jennifer is from Nebraska. She's just saying Lincoln, Nebraska. I've been to Lincoln, Nebraska, believe me or not. And I used to see my niece. She was studying agricultural university there. So I went there a couple of times, in fact, near Lincoln, Nebraska. It's a small town where what is the famous Berkshire Hathaway, he lives there. Still he lives up in the Lincoln, Nebraska. So it is Lincoln, Nebraska is a agricultural place. That is where she studied at Wesleyan University. She studied sewing because during she came to study medicine, what happened was there was this already war there was a tension going on between the United States and Japan. So that was a big tension going on. There's a lot of the very edge of the situation is not that good. So she wanted to finish fast and some degree, and then she wanted to go back. Only thing that she can do that faster is sewing, and she got the diploma in sewing, and she went back to Japan. So Teruko Mizuyashima is a so she was a, mother, wife, and then she's cooking and cleaning and raising children. She thought about she wanted to have her own time. She wanted to have self time. A lot of women talk about, mothers talk about, I need to have my own time for my yoga, for my med spa, all those things. She wanted her own time. So this inequalities among the gender she saw, and also in the overall context of the inequality she saw is a not only man and woman gender problem. She saw dishonesty, selfishness, greed, violence, and hatred. It's now we are seeing everywhere in the United States and everywhere in the world now. Unfortunately, that starting with the dishonesty and greed, selfishness. So this is she wanted to do something with a different kind of a traits, human traits. She wanted to bring it. She wanted to do that in a different kind of a style. She wanted to formalize the process. She wanted to bring the courage, kindness, and compassion, and love and peace. These are kind of looking abstract, but you can quantify them. That's what she did. Amazing. I like that. I love it as a physicist and a mathematician. I love that concept of you can quantify that kind of abstract ideas. What she did was is a is a it is actually, I'm going to play a video. It is a little bit the video is going to talk about a presidential candidate, Andrew Yang, that he was running for president in the Democratic Party one time, and he was talking about this concept of time banking. This is called, started in Japan, Furia Kippu. They call Furia Kippu is like a translation. Let me bring the video first, and then you will.
This is something I've always wanted to ask you about, and I've been excited to ask you about it since I've gotten to know you a bit. And now's maybe
This is something I've always wanted to ask you about, and I've been excited to ask you about it since I've gotten to know you a bit. And now's maybe a good time. Because I heard you on a podcast a while back when you were first
universal basic income
campaigning for president.
But then you were also
you were talking about universal basic income.
Please mute your phones, your microphones. There's a sound is coming up, please. Thank you.
Put words in your mouth. You could express this better than I could, but you were talking about having other programs and structures to support.
Let me see that one more time. Why it is doing that is a very strange. Let me do that. Okay, why is doing that? I don't know.
This is something I've always wanted to ask you about, and I've been excited to ask you about it since I've gotten to know you a bit, and now's maybe a good time. Because I heard you on a podcast a while back when you were first campaigning for president, and you were talking about universal basic income. But then you were also saying, and you could, don't let me put words in your mouth, you could express this better than I could, but you were talking about having other programs and structures to support kind of productivity and community-driven collaborative efforts, whether it's in art or in other fields, that were not necessarily driven by a commercial market, but were driven by other modes of.
Oh yeah.
I'm so interested in how that works, because I don't know that commerce is the only way to drive art.
Yeah, thank you for calling that out. To me, pillar number one is put money into people's hands. Would folks have more freedom to create? Yes. Would they have more ability to reward artists and creators? Yes, if you had better structures in place. But there's this whole set of activities that has been eroding for years and decades in the United States of America that I think most of us agree are pretty positive stuff that the market just is not going to love. And one thing that I use as an example when I travel is local newspapers. Local newspapers are getting wiped out. 1,000 local papers gone. And democracy does not function as well if you don't have local papers. So let's say even if we had more money in a community, sure, some more local papers would survive, but maybe you decide that local journalism is good regardless of whether or not like the advertising makes money or, you know, like the subscriptions. And so if you start looking at some things that maybe we can agree are positive, which I would definitely put art in this category, I'd put local journalism in this category, I'd put volunteering for a civic organization in this category. And so volunteerism is down. Like pretty much anything where like there's something that you regard as positive in the community has been declining by the numbers for years. And so there's like this whole suite of activities where I don't think any of us necessarily wants to get quote unquote paid for everything. It's like, hey, if I, you know, volunteer for the nonprofit, like nonprofit pay me. It's like there has to be like some sort of activity you do that's like non-monetary, but also something that we want to reward or reinforce. And so my idea was essentially you create like a parallel economy around this other set of activities that we could use another currency for, or time. And it was based on something called time banking, where in the 60s, RFK's speechwriter was trying to figure out how to help poor communities become more socially connected. And what they came up with was something called time banking, where if I babysit your kids, then you get me back by hauling like logs off my lawn. And we essentially just trade like units of time with each other. And so you could introduce like a different currency or time units into this other set of activities that we know we need more of, but you don't want to pay people for because it's like a little messed up. And so, and I would certainly put art in this category, where if someone produces public art, then they would get, this other currency reward, or other people get them back in various ways. It'd be a way to try and stitch together social interactions, and also you could disclose it publicly in a way that you don't money. So if I'm like, hey, I made $1,000, like I'm an asshole if I'm like waving around like my $1,000 like above my head. Right. But if I got these like, 1,000 social points or whatever you call them, then you could actually broadcast it in a way that everyone finds perfectly socially acceptable. Right. And then you could even give those social points to someone else. And then they could use it for various things. So that was like the thinking around like that, like you need something non-monetary for certain activities that you want to help see more of.
Can I ask you more about how that will work? I know you haven't like fleshed it out entirely, so this is maybe just a totally hypothetical situation, but I just find that so fascinating. I want to ask you more about, like, so in the case of an artist, say, because that's obviously what's close to my heart and experience. So someone who makes some art, say they make a song, they record a song, and it's not necessarily like the kind of commercially viable song that a record label is going to invest in or something, but they have the potential to earn this sort of, whether it's like time banking or social points or whatever you call it. How there would have to be some kind of system in place that would determine how many social points that song is worth, or like how would that kind of...
So my thinking on this, and this is actually very close to the conversation I was having with the musicians online, would be that if I listen to the song, just by virtue of my listening to the song, you get like a social credit for the fact that I listened to it. It's like essentially a micropayment thing.
Got it. Okay, so everybody who listens to it, then that, right. Okay. So it does have to do with the audience that you garner for the art that you create.
Yeah.
Right. But so, because right now, the way that you can make money or get any kind of compensation for that sort of thing is, say, you put your song on YouTube or your video on YouTube or whatever, and YouTube is able to, if 1 million or more people come and watch your video, then YouTube might make enough money on ads that they'll give you like a few bucks.
Well, this is the distinction you drew initially, Joseph, because I've been struggling with how the heck we would get this done on a societal level. Mm-hmm. You essentially want the world to look more like Netflix than YouTube.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's like where we're paying, but in this case, you don't necessarily want. And I think like tier one, which would be better, is if we all had money and we're all paying for stuff. But then tier two would be like, hey, I'm paying with my attention, and you can take like this attention currency and use that for various things too. Some of which could be monetary, because you want to try and get the like. Because right now people are conditioned to consume art and content for free or near free, and then you pay a subscription, and then you're like, okay, now I'm in the walled garden and I get like the cool like movie or TV show from like the Joseph Gordon-Levitt's of the world, and so what you want to do is you want to create like closer to that walled garden dynamic out there, like where if you pay attention to something, then the creator is getting rewarded, and it doesn't necessitate my whipping out my credit card.
Right. Because someone has spent their time on your art. So if it were time banking, it would be that kind of thing. Yeah.
Sorry, this is a wonderful, that what Andrew Young was talking about is the attention credits. When you listen a song, and my son is actually a musician, is a clinical researcher, but he's a part. He does the fashion, is the music, and a lot of people love his music, but they may not able to pay. They may not pay, but the attention social credits he can gather, and you can quantify that credit. That's a beautiful idea. That I loved it. So this came from Japan, originally from Japan. It's called Caring Relationship Tickets. She started it. Toriko Mijishima started this kind of a time banking. So your attention span, your time that you're listening, that time is actually a credit. Caring Relationship Tickets, they should call. And the Japanese community currency, that is so alternative currency she created about the communities to enhance the social interactions, real people, not on talking on this on the internet, but this is a very new concept, quantifying the time that you spend and give attention or provide a service. I will ask Harry, can you expand that little bit on that one, how that time banking works? You're an expert in that area.
Yes, I will. No, I love to hear to the story and how it's applied for art and for give a credit for time listening to something, and everybody's also looking for because it could be a combination between time and monetizing and monetary value.
Yeah.
I think it's great that. Because it's a pity that he didn't become president, isn't it?
He did not become president, but his concept was excellent. He was with a
No, but
very short
it's
period of time,
great.
he got a
It's great.
very great attention. But his concept is very time banking. Is a
Yeah.
very great concept that he introduced. For your Kippo. So
It is actually very simple. Time is money, and money is time.
yeah,
And we talk about it, but we do not monetize on it. And when you would have time banking systems in place, and it gets a critical mass. In my discussions with Dr. Litar, he calculated he said if 30% of our economy would be in complementary currencies like time banking, we wouldn't have monetary crisis anymore.
correct. So we have a monetary crisis with the $50 billion. The guy cryptocurrency, time currency is that you'd spend on the society, helping people,
Yeah, but what
helping
it is
listening your friend's
yeah,
song, or
yeah,
helping taking your friend to the doctor's office. That is a kind of a thing that you're buying a pizza for your friend who's sick. That kind of a thing is a very novel concept, and you quantified that time process. That is a really beautiful. Is the concept of time that they so that is
yeah.
a
But
monetary 30% of the
let,
should
let,
be, that is a great idea. 30% of the economy should be service-based, time-based system to value the time, and then providing a community that is really enhances the process. That's why let me continue this one, and you can come back in the evening. At the end, you can give me your ideas, Harry.
Okay.
So the volunteer Clever Bank, she started in Osaka, 1973. She started the first one. Teruko Mijishima started the first time bank in Osaka. So in 1973. So what is time banking is? Time is you take economic sphere into social sphere. You move the value of economic sphere, the reward system. You're moving from economic sphere to social sphere, not socialism, social sphere. So friends, family, local businesses, not the huge franchises take over the local business, kill them. That is not the. She is encouraging the local people, communities that you live in, all those things. You take economic sphere to move that aspect to the social sphere. That time banking can do that. Thinking money through time. It's a beautiful idea. It is an amazing idea that, I'm a physicist. Time has a lot of meaning. For example, in physics, that in classical physics, time is absolute. The time marching towards the future, past to the future. In a classical physics, in a quantum physics, is more complex. It is an operator. Time is just. It could be as an operator kind of thing. That's particular operation, a transactional operation in the quantum physics. In the cosmological time, it is a huge. That is a different second law of thermodynamics. The time is the result of the second law of thermodynamics. So time is always illusion to me. Time is always fascination. It is always fascinating to me as a physicist. Here, first time I see the reward system is based on time. You have a banking system for that. So you would be surprised at how many. This is his name. So the Andrew Yang, saw the video that what he was proposing at the time. I did not understand at the time. It was actually, this is not a new in New Hampshire, Indiana. There is a one kind of I don't know much. Is a religious group started the first time is a currency of a local currency, time service based currency. They started their own time, New Haven town, in New Hampshire, Indiana. I don't know where that place is. I went to school there, but I didn't know that New Hampshire, Indiana there. But that is a town. They were starting in the 1800s. That's a long time ago. Then actually the real one came in. Cincinnati Time Store is actually he used to tell us you could buy his goods, and then as long as you provide the time or paint somebody's house, or you do say you work in his store, whatever it is, you can exchange the goods and services through time. It's a beautiful idea. It is not that normal. It was started in the Cincinnati Time Store. It is started there. It is a very, very great concept in my view. I think we need to adopt this kind of a thinking, because Edgar Kahn is the father of the time banking in the United States. He was a speechwriter for John F. Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson, and he was married to an African American. It's reminds me of my own family. So that he said that he went through discrimination and everything he saw in the world in Baltimore. Then he saw the tragedy of the discrimination. He started time banking, really how you exchange time. So he actually mortgaged his house, and then he started time bank, first time bank in the United States. You know how many time banks are there now? 9,000 time banks in the United States. I don't even know it. Wales, Taiwan, Japan, Japan is the first one as origination of that. It fits into their concept. Wales, it went like a fire in the Wales. This time bank, his concept is a very, very attractive concept. People are embracing, and now particularly after pandemic, it is a very, very powerful tool. So my friend I have a friend. She has a mother and a daughter, mother and a sister, or have a lot of TBI. His sister is a TBI. Somebody has to watch her. Paying from the pocket is not that easy. That is very expensive. So what she could do is she could exchange the time. So that is a time banking. Not only she may not able to provide, but that time bank she can transfer. Other people can transfer time service to her. So that is That is the community helping community, people helping people. P2P concept is an amazing concept in my view. It went in, we are in technology platforms, this is not based on society at all. Pyramid scheme, sorry to say, all my families work in technology, but I tell you something about the technology is this, they are making money slowly, start with all the people in the community. Goes to the money, filters through all the way to the top. That is called a pyramid scheme. It may be sophisticated technology, but it is a concept, is a pyramid scheme. Remember that. Because the guy in West Virginia going to the coal mines or bringing ore outside, he is making minimum wage. The guy who is doing a Pittsburgh steel in the steel company, he is making minimum wage. The guy who delivers the nail, the guy who makes the nail, he is making minimum wage. The guy who delivers the nail is making minimum wage. The guy every step all the way is making money. He's a supply chain guy. He's making money left and right every step all the way to the top. They funnel the money to the top. I'm not saying technology is useful, very useful technology, but that we have to prevent this funneling the money to the top. Technology is absolutely great idea, supply chain mechanism, but that unchecked funneling of the money to the top is going to be detrimental of society, in my view. So we need to. So Ithaca ours is the first one, local currency. Ithaca started in there in the New York. That guy is Paul Grover, I think his name. Time banks are global now. Greece has a time bank after the Europe collapse that economic crisis. Greece almost went bankrupt. I think they went bankrupt. Then they started the favor banks. These favor banks are basically time bank, provide a service, and then you can deposit your time in the bank itself. It's actually you can deposit the time. Switzerland citizens can also do that. Switzerland is a long history. I'm not from Europe. Harry can talk about that a little bit. Switzerland has a long history of the time banking. Right? So yeah, you can jump in, Harry. Is that Switzerland has a long history of Switzerland and Europe has a long history of time banking, right?
Yeah, correct. But there they started using it like a barter system, and then they changed into a time system. But in general, we are talking about the domain of complementary currencies, and time money is one of a complementary currency. There is also circular money. We could organize a whole seminar of a year with this subject, but what is a bit disappointing is that there are not too many people like you, and I really appreciate your enthusiasm, who can pick up that concept and understand the value of it. And the reason is, money is a scarce good. Money is scarce. There is not enough money for a lot of people. The month has too many days to finance it with your salary. And what the time bank actually does is, it converts time without a purpose to fulfill unmet needs.
Unmet needs, yes.
And that is the key of, and the thing is, I could talk hours about this subject with you and a whole seminar of a couple of days, but I really hope that people get inspired and you get my personal commitment. As a social entrepreneur, I'm really committed in helping people who want to set it up.
I grew up in
my advice. Yeah,
I grew up in a small village in India. That is the only way you can do that. We could not quantify. I am helping somebody. I'm painting somebody's house or anything like that. It's just not an abstract aspect. But now you can quantify that and then get back. When you need something, you can get back that social credits. That's an absolute great idea. Is a time bank is a beautiful idea in the times of this crisis now. What we are in is a money is scarce in the communities now. That is really, even in the United States, is a big problem. I think we can solve time bank as a purpose now, in my view. But let me continue my this. In India now, the time bank is started in India. Because what is the problem in India? The huge number of the young people left India. They left the parents If you go to Hyderabad or Chennai, there's a lot of old people, all the old, younger people all over the world now. They're doing computer work, medical work. So the young people left India and then they moved on to the different parts of the world, all over Europe, in the United States, everywhere. So what happened? All the people left the old people left in those towns, lonely, desperate, and they may have some money to pay children, but the thing is that you cannot buy that affection and services that come down and somebody feeds them. So they came back with the idea of time banking in India. It was their concept, Manava Seva, Madhava Seva. It is a very is a Sanskrit, Telugu. Is a Manava Seva means the service to humanity is service to God. That's what they're saying that. So now India adopted this kind of a time banking system. They opened the first time bank in India. I love it. This is the concept that all the young people who are there in the small towns who are studying still, they can go and serve the old houses, help old people in India. That is, they can do that, and then they get the credits for that. So then when they need something, tutoring, or some kind of a knowledge-based transfer, or anything they needed, the kids, they can ask for it because they earn that social credits. That's an amazing concept. It's a quantifiable. Time is when you spend time. It's a quantifiable. It's an amazing idea that I loved it. I embraced it immediately. When leaders fail, physicians rise. Dr. Jim Withers and Dr. Andrew Buzari, these two doctors, they go around and they spend time to homeless people, serving homes. Paul DeShant is one of my friends is one of the interview that I interviewed in the Concord. And Paul DeShant these are the people really serve the humanity. The California is facing through humanitarian crisis with the homelessness, and these doctors really provide the time. But they can get the time credits now. They can acquire the time credits. These homeless people, when they get something, they can do something for them. They can organize their office. They can do something. They can do phone calls or whatever it is. You can use them, even though they're homeless. They're talented. There may be some talents. They could be useful in certain ways. That is the power of the time banking. So when our societies are failing, physicians has to raise up. So there's another one is a time bank in healthcare. It's started it just is catching a fire. In my view, Sinatra Healthcare in Virginia, West Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. They have a lot of offices in 100 locations in North Carolina. So what they did was they did the transportation problem solved. If no, sorry, it was not a transportation, asthma problem. If asthma patients checking on each other, then the communities, they're checking on each other, and the asthma patients, if the albuterol is running out or something like that, they can drop it off instead of. So they reduced the admission rate through the use of time banks. They reduced the readmission rate of 70% down for asthma patients. It is a reviewed study. 70% went down because they're checking on each other. If somebody says to me, if I tell Dad, you got to take if my daughter says that, Dad, you need to take this medication, I will not. A lot of times the patients don't take medications, but doctors put them, oh, you didn't take medication, you didn't comply. But when they commit to the social situations, to their friends, to their daughters, they take it really serious. That relationship, time bank can provide that. Amazingly, even she can deposit time bank to helping parents. It's a very great concept in that sense. So that Sinatra healthcare system started that, and there is a Lee Valley healthcare system. There is a doctor actually, Dr. Abby Lecture. She is from California, in fact. She moved to Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. Lehigh Valley, the community exchange time bank. She started there, so she wanted to serve the community, serve the humanity. So that's what she did. She went there back to serve humanity. That's a time bank. She started a time bank. So you can deposit you can use a time coin, in the time bank technology, blockchain technology. You can use it. Mongrovia is a company from Italy. So they do create a blockchain technology that's to the HIPAA compliancy. All the time bank, you can issue coins in time bank service. There is no money exchange. Time that is spent for your society, for your older people around in your town, or helping somebody who is struggling through. They don't have to give time. You give the time to them. That is deposited in your favor. You could use it later on. Absolutely wonderful concept. The time coins can be exchanged in the future. So, for example, and this is the one I'm going to talk about, that the transportation problem that doctor was mentioning in Alabama. So you could use the other. You could talk about doctors can start the time banks. I tell you how it works. So other patients to bring the other patient. That time they spend on it, that is can be deposited for that patient. If they need help, he can do that. The other patients can do that. Person to helping person, people to help people helping people. There's it doesn't make any sense. There's no technology without people. It has to start from people. So me and Harry were talking about it. Eventually, we're going to use some kind of a artificial intelligence. We need the technology to protect the HIPAA compliancy, and we will provide this transportation time bank for the doctors. So they can the doctors can tell, yeah, my Mrs. Smith could not able to come. Mrs. Uh, Mrs. George can bring another patient can bring her to the Mrs. Walters can bring her Mrs. Smith to the table, and then she can deposit her time credit in the bank. And then when she needs something, then she can get that back from other community members in that society. The time bank is a very powerful concept. So this is one of the problems we can solve it, because a lot of doctors have problem. I've been in a lot of doctors' offices. One of the biggest problem is patients coming to the doctor's office. It's a big challenge because a lot of times Medicaid, Medicare may not cover that, and then children are busy. So you can use the community to transport people back and forth, and then use that credit. They could use that credit. That is a great concept, and also for doctors is an opportunity. You spend time there. You can give a credit. You can have the credit. Maybe they can paint your house, or they can clean your office. You can do that. You don't have they do that right now. Doctors do that, but this is a quantifiable. It's a absolutely quantify that exchange. So it is a measurable, quantifiable. It makes it accountable. That is what I like about the time bank. But Hippocratic AI is a AI. We'll talk with them. They're basically here in Silicon Valley. Dr. Harvey Castro, he talks about ChatGPT. Maybe he talks about all the applications there. One of the things I'm going to ask him about this kind of thing, concept, how we can implement time banking through the ChatGPT or AI based HIPAA based AIs. That so time banking is people helping people, strengthen the communities, social inclusion, reduce poverty, learning and development. You can do all those things where the money is scarce. That is where right now, including United States, there's a lot of places are struggling. This is the time that we can do this kind of things. Time bank is a powerful idea. It's a social interaction, but it is quantifiable, accountable, and measurable. I think we are all need to support this kind of idea. And Andrew Young is just started it. My son is producing a song, very uplifting. So those kind of songs, that uplifting songs, they can get social credits. All those things, artists can get social credits. This is a new. We need to open up the people-based system. It is we still. I love capitalistic society, but not to rob people and just destroy the economy, destroy everything, destroy the infrastructure. That is not a social. That is not a capitalism. So we need to come back with a balanced structure. I think America is ready, and I'm very excited to all of you. I want to talk with, this is so highest honors. So she got a Tiruko Mizushima started in bank. She got a lot of awards. Order of the Second Treasurer from Japan, highest civilian order, civilian honor she got in Japan. She won the Award Prize of Woman for Achievement, and she died in 1996. She lived a long time. But there's a lot of organizations there. Timebanks.org, you can go there. Time Republic and Our World. These are all organizations. They do the time banking. Okay, time banks. Me and Harry are going to start these kind of things for the doctors, for the transportation part of it. We're going to come back on that one soon. But so there is another extraordinary woman. I wanted to introduce you, my friend's mother. Her name is Shigeko Upuluri. She got a strange last name. She's from Japan. She was just before Second World War. She was born. He's a good friend of my mother. She's a good friend of. She's a mother of my good friend Ramo Upuluri. He's an attorney from Washington D.C. I'm going to bring him. She is the one I visited Oak Ridge. And then she is 92 years old, 90 years old at the time, 90th birthday I attended. She wanted to drop me at the airport. 90 years old. She said that she got upset with her son. Why are you asking him to take over? I could drop him. I could have dropped him. Let me bring such an extraordinary woman. They honored her in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. That's where the Manhattan Project was done. And really admired. She started a peace bell in Oak Ridge. Let me bring Ram. Are you there? Let me bring Ram. Can you come online? Ram, I'm trying to bring him. His son. Her son is a. So she married to a man from my hometown, close to my hometown. His name is Upaluri. He's a mathematician. He was working in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and his son is Ram Upaluri. He ran for Congress actually. And when I met him, he is a Ram. Let me call him and say that I don't know why. Just ask him to come and. So Ram is going to join. I hope he was there. Ram, can you come on camera? We are waiting for you.
Yeah, my camera is on. I'm on.
No, I don't see you. You need to. Can you talk on the phone?
Let me see if I can come on.
Yeah.
The other one here. Try this one.
I'm trying to bring the Ram. Okay, let me find out. He's already there, but is a Ramapuluri attorney. His mother is. So she's a wonderful. She started after the Second World War. They dropped bombs in her hometown, closer to her hometown, Nagasaki and Hiroshima. She started a peace bell in the Oak Ridge. So she married my friend's father. So she was I'm privileged and honored to meet her at her 90th birthday. She passed away recently, 3 weeks ago. She passed away, and she's an extraordinary woman, a resilient, extraordinary woman. She cooked for me Indian food, and I went there. It's really privileged and honored. I don't know. Ram is trying to come in, but I see him on camera, but he's having some hard time.
Ramana, I see Rastafa Geddes. He's one of the viewers, and he has a lot of interesting comments. And a couple of questions. But the thing is, if he wants to have answers, he can connect with me on LinkedIn. Then I will answer his questions.
Yeah, sure. So, but anyway, thank you for there's a Ramupuluri's mother is trying to come in, but let's see if he comes in. So my concept of time is Ram. Can you hear me? He's trying to come in, and I cannot see him. Go back and come back. That's the best. So you can produce the time bank patients. You can open a time bank, and you can exchange the time bank for the patients and all those things. But let me talk with um, Harry a little bit, and then I play some. I think that is the end of the. So we all let us contribute. That's my son and my niece. They produce the music, and I'm going to play maybe a little bit if we have time. I play his music. Is my niece and my son and is their cousin, his cousin. They're from both sides of the family. They made a fusion music. Is amazing, and I hope that's the reason it's time banking. I was talking about it because you could listen and you can earn the social credits. That would be fantastic idea. The
Yeah,
end
it's a
to
great
end.
idea.
Yeah. So let me bring Harry to the back to the main stage. So Harry, tell me about the how much excited about the time banking. Is a goodwill, quantifiable goodwill. Not only that, we can you can do monetize. You can do a banking system. We can do the mixer thing together. But it is absolutely necessary for the countries to survive. This is a needed service in India. It's all telling you in India the older people left in big cities. Now the younger people can. I was telling one of my friends, she's a pharmacist. I telling her to open a time bank in India. So give your background and what do you think of your ideas about the time banking?
Well, the thing is that financial speculation and healthcare doesn't go together. And with time banking, you tap into enormous resource. You know how if you would collect from 1,000 people 4 hours, and if you would calculate what that would cost in the commercial community, you create real value, because in the monetary system, money is not covered with value. It's only covered with debt.
Yeah.
And we already have 300 million, a trillion US dollar global debt in the world. So if the interest rate goes up for 1%, the majority have to pay for that, not the minority. So we need to change the fabric of our society, and we need to design our fabric based on the needs of a community. And if you integrate time and money and health in the same system, you know, everybody says there is not enough money. You cannot buy your health with money. You cannot buy your time with money. But still, we are so stuck with the money concept that we don't allow other systems to get into our society. So that's the reason why I have to change the fabric of our society and start becoming human again. Humanizing technology is one of the things. Technology is great, but it has such a negative connotation because all the billionaires and all the rich guys making money in a couple of years of technology. But focus on what it does for you. And if we change the fabric of our society, then we can can really be in a unity in let's say a unity of existence of mankind. That is the number one goal we should have, because it's for us all.
You know that, Gary, I went to this town, that Oak Ridge, Tennessee, that my friend's hometown, and then these are where a Manhattan project was building entire nuclear reactors. There is a lot of medical inventions were done in that town. If you see the people who are living there, they are brilliant scientists, physicists, Eugene Wigner, Steven Weinberg, all of the people, Oppenheimer, all of them are lived there, and their houses are simple and small houses. Now in Silicon Valley, this money is flashing everywhere. They talk jets and everything. The knowledge is such a power. We ignore the knowledge the day we ignore and we pray demigods. The society is going to get into troubles. That is. You mentioned it's the humanizing the problem. You can make money. I'm a capitalistic and you're capitalistic. I wanted to be in business, but I don't want to be. I don't. But that has to be measured. It is to be service of the humanity. It is not just a flash about controlling the other people and making one-way traffic of all the money. It is really fast. And so tell me your final thoughts, Harry, on this time bank and what are the future, what we can do for the healthcare system in America.
Well, it is actually, you can rephrase that. It is what you can do for the healthcare system, because I don't know the American healthcare system. You know, I'm a financial specialist, an investment specialist, and I work with technology, and I'm really engaged with society and the future of my children and my grandchildren. And if we don't change the fabric of our society, and if we don't allow time as a currency, circular currencies, you know, we are so rigid because it has to go into the banking system. And the minute you hear banking system, you have regulations, and you know, we live in a completely different time. We use systems from the Middle Ages today, because money is a mean of communication.
Yeah. No,
And time, you need time to communicate.
you know, I start with my original point. The reward system is messed up in this country.
Correct.
So the reward system has to be changed, fundamentally redefined and rechange the change and put the new things together. Is time banking is at least one of the instruments, financial instrument. It's a financial instrument, in fact.
It is.
It is one of the powerful financial instruments.
Yeah. And money is scarce and time is available.
Yes.
9 billion, whatever people multiplied by 1 hour, you are a billionaire.
Yeah.
In
That's
time.
exactly. Billionaire is not spending
In
billion
time.
year time. You know, he's just a billion. He's making money without. But anyway, that is a concept that we need to encourage. And thank you so much. It's a truly privilege and honor to talk with you, Harry. You gave me such a, you know, I'm a physicist. I love, you know, I don't go by over more than an hour. But this is the first time I like it, because I love this concept that you introduced me to me. I'm in debt forever for you in that sense. I won't owe you time for that.
It was an honor being present, and I hope you invite me more than once.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. You know,
You're
let me
welcome.
play I hope my son's, you know, I don't know whether he has any music. My son has it. Yeah, I'm going to play some of my son's music. I hope you will get a social
maybe I can help him. I was partnered with Quincy Jones of the 5 Magazine publication, so I can help his career.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's fun.
You're
Let
welcome.
the young people play the role. Let me play his music a little bit. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Throw it all around the world, all around the world, all around the world. Throw it.
She a fly little diva that be going to my aid, no Khalifa. We should travel to a land Wi-Fi couldn't reach us. Let's hit Rome or the home of the zebras. Either she just wanna take a little trip to Ibiza, hit a little window in Indonesia, kick it in Brazil like FIFA, and treat a passport like a visa. Model in France like damn Mona Lisa. Now she wanna dance on the pyramids of Giza and Chichen Itza, land in Geneva, then make it rain bands from the Tower of Pisa.
All around the world, all around the world, all around the world. Throw it all
Fly me out,
When you wanna jet,
fly me out,
when we coming back,
fly me out,
but you got it like that.
'cause I'm burning.
Hype when I enter and hate when I'm gone. Nights out in Denver and days I'm alone. Flights out of Kenya straight to Iran, then back to the west, Sierra Leone. Trek to the east like Genghis Khan. She'll twerk in a burqa, it ain't haram. We can spend the winter seeing what the penguins on. To the earth while you play the song. Do it like left, right, up and down. Hit the North Pole then scrub the ground. This goes out to the wanderlust. If you come with us and just
throw it all around the world, all around the world, all around the world. Throw it all
Fly me out,
when you wanna jet,
fly me out,
when we coming back,
fly me
but
out,
you got it like that.
'cause I'm worthy.
Tell me how you want it. Let me put you on it. All I wanna
Wanna jet,
Fly me out,
when we coming back.
fly me out.
I think I know location. We can hit a flex out in India with a mouth full of gold and a bindi up. Then get our Telugu and Hindi up. Before we slide to the function, you with me?
Yup.
First we in Goa, where everything's slower. Move it down south till we can't get lower. Down where the weather always on flamethrower. And the women so bad they can charm King Cobras. And you know we won't rush back. Tell your homegirls get on WhatsApp. To the whole world, got love for the fact you a Flight Club rat. You throw it
all around the world.